Hey, it's all about automation. This is Gary Mintchell, Editor-in-Chief, Automation World Magazine, recording on May 22nd, 2010. Little lag in between recordings. This time I took off for a little bit of vacation the end of April and immediately went off into 3 more trips, and I was going to try to record down in Houston this past week, but just ran out of time. Like to do a lot of reading when I go on vacation. It was kind of an early vacation, but celebration of a special anniversary. So we took off at an optimum time for Hawaii. After some sightseeing, did some reading. This is the Starfish and the Spider. Interesting book on management. It talks about leaderless organizations and decentralization. And some of the benefits that you get from a more decentralized organization. The kind of thing that I prefer as a leader. A long time ago when I was interviewing for management positions, they wanted to know what kind of management. I said, if I have to manage people that I have to tell them every second of the day what to do, can't do it. I don't want to supervise those kind of people. I don't want that kind of job. We have a task to do. I hire self-starters and people that are professionals and do it, and we go kind of like Automation World. So anyway, Starfish and the Spider, very interesting book. By the way, the CEO of Advantech Corporation in Taiwan wrote quite an essay on that as a model for his leadership at Advantech. And I keep meaning to write back to him and find out how that's working out for him. Followed that book. I got this book from, let's see, figure out how to hold this in the camera. The Lights in the Tunnel by Martin Ford. Now, Martin Ford takes kind of a different tack. He thinks things are centralizing more, and it's because of automation. So what does automation mean to people? Automation replaces jobs. Now, we all know that to a degree. It creates some jobs, replaces an awful lot of other ones. And he extrapolates this into a curve, and he says, what's going to happen in, say, 20 years when we have 75% unemployment because we not only replace all the manufacturing workers, but also clerks and retail, and more importantly, in his point of view, the middle management. A lot of decision-making or middle management kind of jobs can be replaced. And so what's going to happen if we have 75% unemployment due to automation? And interesting read. It makes you think. I spent a lot of time thinking about that book while I was, I had time on the airplane and on the beach, and that's what I do, I think. So it's kind of like, what are we doing in automation, and what will the world look like? Where will jobs come from? My analysis is we don't know where the jobs will come from. They get replaced in various ways. And, agriculture jobs eventually phased into manufacturing. Manufacturing jobs have been phasing over the last quite some time. So, there's a lot going on. And certainly I'm not a prognosticator. But I would like to balance that with this book, which is called Shop Class as Soulcraft. He takes it an opposite view. Guy liked working on motorcycles and things and decided that he wanted to be a knowledge worker, got a PhD from the University of Chicago, got a job in a Washington think tank, and discovered being a knowledge worker isn't all it's cracked up to be. You get a cubicle, you get a computer, and then you're supposed to crank out words that support the political philosophy du jour of wherever you're working. And so he went back to fixing motorcycles. And it's fixing motorcycles. If any of you have done any tinkering, it's an intellectual exercise. You have to think about what you're doing, planning it, and then you have to do it. And a lot of the fun is in the actual building or repairing of things. And I replied to Martin Ford. We had quite an email exchange, and I'm sure that it's going to be ongoing. He doesn't think that this sort of job, that there's enough of those jobs to replace all the manufacturing and middle management jobs that will be lost to automation. I'm not so sure. I think there's an awful lot of people, as manufacturing jobs have changed over the last 15 years or so, where no longer are they really well paying. No longer can you get a job in a factory at an unskilled level, and increasingly so even at a reasonably skilled level. And have a middle class income. A lot of people are supplementing these in the craft economy, where I'm making things with my hands. And I know a lot of people who make all kinds of interesting things and then go to flea markets or or what's the thing, eBay, and sell them. And there's quite the economy going on there. And I'm not so sure that we aren't adjusting our lifestyles and adjusting our consumer habits, and that won't have a big impact on replacing it. Who says that we need these huge monolithic centralized factories that we've had for a couple of hundred years? And maybe we need a more decentralized kind of job and economic environment. I got another book. If I lift this 20 times, I won't have to go to the gym anymore. Core Engineering Concepts. It's huge. And it was a review copy. That's everything in it that you ever need to know. I think that you studied in engineering. And I was browsing through here, and there's math I vaguely remember taking in college. And anyway, Core Engineering Concepts. If you're interested in a big reference book that's got all kinds of stuff in it, there you go. That was pretty good. Came back from Hawaii. The first week of May, we had the Packaging Automation Forum that Automation World and Packaging World put together. And I've been really interested to discover what the heck is going on with packaging automation. We started out, we were going to talk about servos, replacing movement axes with servos instead of mechanical, and then put in PLCs. We do PackML so that we structure the programming and so on. And that was what packaging automation was. Then we started networking and talking about that. And for some reason, the people at Packaging World especially seem to think that that's been talked about and done. And the next thing is actually something that could have been called MES, Manufacturing Execution Systems. Now with ISA 95 is called Manufacturing Operations Management, or MOM. And actually all of our speakers were pretty much in that realm of collecting data, putting it in software, and then using it for maybe OEE or overall equipment effectiveness, or various kinds of inventory or production planning, or other ways of making the whole production lines more efficient and productive and profitable. And that seems to be where that's going. And I'm a little bit surprised. I still think there's a lot to be talked about in the actual controls and automation of a machine, and maybe hooking it together to coordinate a line. And the new thing is coordinating the process line, and that would be process machinery, that kind of process, with the packaging line. That seems to be the new thing coming up. So anyway, that was the Packaging Automation Forum. We sold out. It was great, made some money, and had a good time, and we're planning for next year's. No date yet set, but if you're even remotely into that sort of production and packaging, keep watching. The next week, which was last week, I went to Marshalltown, Iowa for the first time in my life, and went to the Fisher facilities of Emerson Process Management, and they dedicated a new laboratory, a heck of a lab. They can now they have 36-inch pipes. They can do 36-inch valve testing, actually by extrapolation, but if you put it in there, you can do the math to actually make it twice that size of a valve that you actually put under pressure. I think it was 3,500 PSI gauge is the highest pressure that they can do. And they have tons of other things. They have a noise lab. They have labs where they can test interoperability on Fieldbus and Profibus PA with other companies' stuff working in their system. Just a number of laboratories, and this is used for product development and testing, and also for customers. When customers are putting in some sort of a big complex bunch of pipes and valves, they can replicate some of that, do some testing to prove out that what they're theoretically they said they can do, they can actually do. So that was that week, and then this past week I was in Houston at the ABB Automation and Power World Conference. They had 4,500 total attendees, just shy of 2,000 customers. Huge, a lot of excitement, really good. And I'm hoping that bodes well for like our economy and so on in the future. As our event went well, the ABB event went well. Next week I'm going to Austin, Texas. WBF, got my WBF Baltimore 07 shirt. I'm going to the WBF meetings in Austin next week. In a couple of weeks, RS Tech Ed's coming up, followed by Honeywell's HUG, Honeywell User Group. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of interesting things happening. Not a lot of news out of the ABB thing, kind of strange. It's the first time I didn't have any interviews. They never set up a single interview, which is a little strange. But it was a good, exciting thing. So anyway, Gary Mintchell, little recap of the last whirlwind month and more to come next week. Have a good one.